ठीक है। हेलो, रिकॉर्डिंग स्टार्ट करके स्क्रीन खोल लिए। बच्चे हैं 44।
Good evening, all. I welcome you all in the today's webinar on forensic psychology. This webinar is organized by CCIFS, Center for Criminal Investigation and Forensic Science, in association with Legal Specs. CCIFS is an organization which has gained national and international acclaim, becoming a pivotal force in shaping the landscape of future education. Its primary goal is to democratize forensic education, making it accessible to all. Legal Specs, an initiative registered under Ministry of Labour and Employment and Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. Legal Specs operate under the common motto Lawyers in Making, with the goal of improving students' awareness of career and outreach. In order to reach maximum audience across India, our initiative with Legal Specs has resulted in organizing this webinar. Today, we are joined with Ms. Arpita Sharma, who is heading the Department of Forensic Science at CCIFS, along with resource speakers Ms. Tania Saha and Ms. Iram Saifi. Ms. Tania Saha is a forensic associate at CCIFS. She is a qualified forensic psychologist with an experience to the relationship of psychology and the judicial system. Ms. Iram Saifi, Advocate Iram, is a distinguished and independent IP lawyer practicing at Delhi High Court. She has been recognized internationally for her talent, leadership, and achievement. I hand over the session to Ms. Arpita Sharma, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. It is my distinct honor and privilege to welcome you all to today's webinar on forensic psychology. Before we start the session, I want to give a brief introduction about what CCIFS is all about. So, at CCIFS, which is Center for Criminal Investigation and Forensic Science, our mission is to sensitize students and professionals in the criminal justice system about the intricacies of forensic science, equipping them with the knowledge and skills necessary to excel, in their respective roles. Through our various courses and capacity building programs, we strive to bridge the gap between theory and practical, and we offer certain, foundational and certificate courses and diploma courses in forensic science, forensic nursing, cyber and digital forensics at reputed universities such as Jamia Hamdard, Christ University, OP Jindal, and Lloyd School of Law. With over 15 years of experience in law, justice administration, and forensic science, our founder, Dr. Tabish Arosh, is a seasoned legal professional, currently serving as legal consultant, Delhi Police, and also as professor of practice at Lloyd Institute of Forensic Science. So, coming back to the topic in hand, I'm thrilled to be here to introduce you to an exciting new initiative that we've been working on at CCIFS and Legal Specs. Every Sunday, right from the comfort of your own home, you'll have the opportunity to delve into the fascinating world of forensic science. So we've lined up certain webinars, and every Sunday we'll be sharing the link. Like this Sunday, we've done it with you all, and wherein we'll share the resource persons will share their knowledge, insights, and maybe even a few thrilling stories along the way. So, yeah, without further ado, I open the session for our resource person to brief you all about the concept of forensic psychology. So, over to you, Iram ma'am.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and I hope everyone present here is doing well. And I'm delighted to have you join me as we embark on this journey of learning and exploring today. So, as you've already got to know about me from the host, so let's begin with this session. And we are learning about the forensic psychology. So, I believe we all should be aware at least about the basics and the fundamentals of psychology. That is what exactly psychology is. So I just tell you in the simple word that psychology is the study of the mind and the human behavior, and it's like peering into the hidden workings of our brain to understand why we think, or why we feel, or why we behave the way we do. So now there is this question, this another question, that why should we bother studying psychology? So understanding psychology can unlock a treasure trove of insights into human nature, and it always help us to understand, or I can say, like, it always help us to comprehend why we form relationships, or how we learn, why we sometimes feel anxious, we feel sad, we feel angry, we feel depressive, and even why we make certain decisions the way we do. So let's just think about it in this way. Like, have you ever wondered why you feel nervous before your examinations, or you are excited when you see your favorite food, your favorite person? That's what psychology in action is, and it's about understanding the mysteries of our minds and understanding the complexities of the human behavior. But I would say that psychology isn't just about understanding ourselves. It has a practical applications in our everyday life. For example, if we talk about the educational institution, so what psychologists do there, they study how students learn best. They help teachers or the professors to create more effective teaching methods. And likewise, in the workplaces, what psychologists do there, so they advise the companies on how to improve employee morale and productivity. And along with, like, if we talk about the counseling sessions or the therapies, so what psychologists do there, so they help individuals to overcome their challenges and lead a happier and a healthier life. So now let's talk about the importance of psychology in our life. What, like, why psychology is important. So I would just say that just imagine a world without psychology, right? So I think we wouldn't have therapies to help people to cope with our mental health issues, like depression, anxiety, our traumas, our triggers. We wouldn't understand the psychological effects of trauma or how to support the survivor or to help ourselves also. And, we wouldn't have insight into how to foster a healthy relationships or raise confidential, right? So like psychology is like a guiding light that illuminates the path to better understanding ourselves as well as others, and it always empowers us to navigate the challenges of our life with greater insights and compassion, like it ultimately leading to happier, more fulfilling lives. So coming to the next point, that is emotional intelligence. I hope most of you have heard about it, and this is one of the very 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 important thing, like we study or we got to know in the psychology. So like I tell you in a very simple word what emotional intelligence is. So like it is the ability to understand and to manage our own emotions and the emotions of others, right? So it's I'll say it is sort of a superpower that always help us to navigate the ups and downs of life with grace and empathy. So let's just think about it this way that आप कभी आपको गुस्सा है या आप बहुत उदास है. So all emotional intelligence is something that always help us to navigate, to understand, or I would say it always help us to recognize कि हम उस वे में क्यों फील कर रहे हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आजकल ऐसा बहुत होता है, लोग ऐसे कहते हैं कि यार मैं किसी बात से ट्रिगर हो गया या कुछ इंसिडेंट हुआ एंड वी ऑलवेज गेट ट्रिगर. सो इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस इज समथिंग कि वी ऑलवेज अंडरस्टैंड कि अगर हमारा इमोशन गुस्सा अगर हमें आ रहा है तो उसका कॉज रूट क्या है एंड हाउ वी कैन डील विद इट. कि इफ आई एम सिटिंग इन अ सिचुएशन जहाँ मैं अपना गुस्सा नहीं कर सकती, तो मैनेजिंग माई इमोशन is something I can say it is an emotional intelligence. Basically, it's just to respond in a constructive way. So it's about being aware of our own emotions and then of the others. It's about regulating our emotions effectively, using them to guide our emotions, and like how we interact with others, like with our emotions. So I tell you here why emotional intelligence is important. So like emotional intelligence is, I would say, like mark my words, it is a secret sauce for success. Like I'm telling you again, emotional intelligence is like a secret sauce for success, and it's being linked to a better relationships, like both into professional and personal life, for higher job performances, and most importantly, like it always help us to improve ourselves in our mental health. And people with like it is a research that people with high emotional intelligence tend to be better communicators, problem solvers, and they are our leaders, obviously. So emotional intelligence, I would say, is like a fuel that our effective management by understanding our own emotions and those of the others, and we can build a stronger relationships that resolve conflicts more effectively and inspire others to reach their full potential. So now there is this, like I'll give you, like coming into the field of law, I'll give you this example of juvenile delinquency. I hope most of you and like every one of you have heard about this term of juvenile delinquency, but I'll just brief you about it. So it refers to the behavior by the young people, by the youngsters, that is against the law. For example, stealing, fighting, vandalism, and then there is this very long list of this. So now there is this question that why do young people engage in this this delinquent behavior, and that's where psychology comes in. So psychology help us to understand the reason behind this behavior, behind the behavior of the youngsters, young people, and what we can do to prevent them. So likely to get involved in this delinquent activity. So psychology always help us to understand how these factors can impact a young person's behavior and what support they might need to make better choices, right? So like I'll give you this another example, that is peer pressure, and all of you have heard about it. So like I tell you just a simple example. When I was studying there, like I was doing my master's. So there was a few of my friends. So first day all of them met. So there was this one person who was from a very middle class family, and then there was this another girl. She was from a very 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 rich background. So she used to come in a Audi, and that boy was just in Auto, or I think some in Centruga. So एक दो दिन बाद they get into a relationship, and then that boy वो उसने अपने घर में लड़ाई करा. Why? Because he want a good car. He wanted iPhone. Obviously उसका phone क्योंकि Android था लड़की के पास वो था. So what I'm trying to say or tell you is कि you know this peer pressure. Like young people often want to fit in with their friends, and even if it means doing things they know are wrong. And psychology always help us to understand how peer pressure can influence a young person's decision and how we can help them to result, negative influences. So psychology always help us to recognize that young people are still developing emotionally and socially, and they might not have the skills to deal with the difficult situations in a positive way. And by understanding these developmental stages, we can provide young people with the support and guidance they need to navigate challenges without turning to delinquent behavior. But psychology just is like doesn't just help us to understand why young people engage in delinquent behavior. So it also offers solutions to help them to turn their lives around. Through therapies, counseling, through support programs, we can help young people, young children, addressing underlying issues, and by developing positive coping strategies. Psychology plays a very important role in understanding and addressing juvenile delinquents, and by exploring the reasons behind these behaviors and providing support and guidance to young people, we can make a positive impact on their life and our communities. Likewise, if I talk about coming to this point of forensic psychology, so if I particularly talk about forensic psychology, it's like a detective of mind, and it's the branch of psychology that applies psychological principles to the legal system. So it is a bridge between psychology and the law, and it helps us to understand the minds of those involved in the legal matters, from criminals to witnesses and victims. So like आप लोगों ने देखा होगा court system में, like if you have been there in the court, or in movies and all, वहाँ पर एक साइकोलॉजिस्ट या एक फॉरेंसिक साइंस का पर्सन बैठा होता है. अगर कोई विटनेस कोई अपना स्टेटमेंट दे रहा होता है, लाई डिटेक्टिंग होता है. देयर आर डिफरेंट स्ट्रैटेजीज इन फॉरेंसिक साइकोलॉजी. सो नाउ there is this question arises, why forensic psychology is important. So like I tell you, forensic psychologist itself, forensic psychologist and forensic psychology, both of them plays a very important role in our legal system, right? So by helping to answer important questions and make informed decisions, so they might assess a defendant's mental state to determine if they are fit to stand for trial, evaluate the credibility of a witness testimony, जैसे मैंने अभी बताया कि वहाँ पर लोग होते हैं and they are there to test the testimony, or provide therapy to the victims of crime. So one of the key area where forensic psychology shine is understanding criminal behavior. This is one of the most important thing, and by studying the mind of the criminal, forensic psychologist can uncover patterns, motivations, and risk factors that contribute to illegal actions. So this knowledge always helps the law enforcement agencies to develop strategies to prevent crime and protect communities. So forensic psychology is also very important in ensuring justice is served fairly, impartially, and by providing expert testimony. Both forensic psychologists and forensic psychology always help judges and juries to understand the complex psychological concepts and make informed decisions based on the evidences and the facts that present in the court. So, I will say this forensic psychologist isn't just about solving crimes. It is also about helping people to heal and move forward. So whether it's providing therapy to the survivors of the trauma or offering support to families of the victims or helping the rehabilitate offenders, forensic psychologists plays a very important role in helping individuals, communities, our society to heal from the impact of that particular crime, whatever happened in our society, or particularly with me, or particular with you. So, in conclusion, I would just say that psychology is like a beacon of light in the legal landscape and understanding the minds of those involved in the legal matters, and it helping to ensure justice is served. And as we discussed psychology, about emotional intelligence, management, they all are indispensable tool in understanding and addressing the concept of our legal system, juvenile delinquency, crime, and as well as forensic psychology is more than that, and it is a very broader field. And by applying these principles effectively, we can make a meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and the communities impacted by the crimes and the legal proceedings. Thank you.
जी बोलियो. Now Tania ma'am will continue the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Already, my colleague Iram ma'am already given so many information in psychology, emotional intelligence, and also a brief about the concept of forensic psychology. So, okay, just I'm sharing my screen right now. Is my screen visible to you all?
Yes.
Okay, so now I'm just going to start about the what is forensic psychology. So you must be aware that what is psychology. Psychology is the field in which we study the human mind. So we all know about this. Now talking about the forensic psychology, ma'am already briefed about what is forensic psychology and what forensic psychologist's role in the criminal justice system. So forensic psychology act as a bridge between psychology and law, plays a pivotal role in understanding, assessing, and sometimes even predicting human behavior with legal context. Now, the forensics, the term, the Latin word forensis, which meaning is forum. In this context, forensic psychology involves the application of psychological knowledge, methods, and expertise to issue and questions within legal context. Forensic psychologists may work in diverse roles such as providing expert testimony in court, conducting psychological evaluation of witnesses or defendant, consulting with law enforcement agencies, designing and implementing rehabilitation program for offenders, and conducting research on topic relevant of psychology and law. Overall, forensic psychology plays a crucial role in facilitating the administration of justice by providing insight into human behavior, informing legal decision making process, and promoting fair outcome within the legal system. Now, the talking about the history part. The history of forensic psychology, marked by a significant event that have shaped the development and evolution of the field. Here are some important milestones I just mentioned. The root of forensic psychology can traced back in the late 19th and early 20th century. During this time, Masterberg and William James began to explore the application of psychological principles to legal issues. His book On the Witness Stand, it is published on 1908, is often considered an important work in field as it extended topics such as witness testimony and the psychology of testimony. In 1907, the William Marston developed the first modern polygraph technique, which is known as a lie detector. We will talk about later that what is polygraph and what is the lie detection machine and all. So now, in coming to the history part, the later half on the 20th century, forensic assessment became increasingly prominent within the field of forensic psychology. Psychologists began conducting evaluation to assess various aspects of individual involved in legal proceeding, including competency to stand trial, sanity in the time of the offense, and risk assessment for violence. So, over the time, the establishment of legal and ethical standards has become important in the practice of forensic psychology. The professional organization APA, that American Psychological Association, have developed the guideline standard of practice to ensure the forensic psychologists bind to principle the competence, objectivity, and integrity in their work in 2001. Now coming to the insanity defense, the most very popular term, insanity defense in a criminal justice system. Anyone know about it? What is insanity defense? Anyone heard about this? Okay, so insanity defense is a legal concept that a person may be considered not responsible for a crime if his or her state of mind is an diminished capacity or he did not know what is wrong. Like, it is a legal concept that allow individual accused of committing a crime to argue that they should not be held criminally responsible for their action due to their mental disorder or incapacity at the time of the offense. It is based on the principle that it should be unjust to hold someone accountable for a crime if they were not mentally capable of understanding the wrongfulness of their actions or of controlling their behavior at the time of offense. So it is originate from the very famous English case, that is M. Nathan case, which is in 1843. It proposed a rule like M. Nathan rule. In many jurisdictions follow that M. Nathan rule as in terms of insanity defense. According to this rule, defendant may be found not guilty by reason of insanity if at time of the offense they were laboring under such a defect of reason from a disease of the mind or mental health, that they did not know the nature and quality of act they are doing, or if they did know it, that they did not know what they were doing was wrong or right. And other jurisdictions may use different standards for determining insanity, such as the irresistible impulsive test, which focus on whether the defendant was unable to control their action due to mental disorder, or the model penal code test, which consider whether defendant lacked sustainable capacity to appreciate the criminality and their conduct, or to confirm their conduct to the requirement of the law. Now, the most important part in the investigation process is the interrogation techniques. So we must know that what is interrogation techniques and what type of interrogation techniques we used in uh, investigation process. Anyone? Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
So is it a boring session?
No,
Then
ma'am.
इंट्रोगेशन टेक्निक में लाइक सबने सुना होगा.
Yes, ma'am.
इंट्रोगेट करते हैं पुलिस सस्पेक्ट को या जो अक्यूज आते हैं जो पकड़े जाते हैं उनको इंट्रोगेट तो किया जाता है ना.
Yes, ma'am.
ओके तो कोई टेक्निक्स
टॉर्चर करते हैं मैम.
कैसे इंट्रोगेट करते हैं?
It's called examining.
Okay, so interrogation techniques are methods used by investigators or any law enforcement officers for the purpose of collecting the information from individuals who are suspected of involvement in a crime. So this is the definition. So now talking about the techniques, the most famous techniques is the good cop and bad cop. You must know about this regarding this. Any idea who is the good cop or bad cop?
Yes, ma'am.
क्या होता है गुड कॉप? क्या तुम लोग
बहुत पोलाइटली आपसे बात करेगा,
भी नहीं
आपको
देखते हो
कन्विंस
क्या?
करने की कोशिश करेगा.
पोलाइटली कन्विंस करने की कोशिश करेगा. और बैड
कॉप एग्रेसिव रहेगा. वो उसका काउंटर मतलब एक तरीके से जैसे मैं अगर आपको बहुत बटरिंग कर रहा हूँ तो वो अपना मतलब उसका ऑपोजिट साइड दिखाएगा. वो आपको मतलब कॉलर ग्रैब करे या आपको मारने की कोशिश करे, लेकिन गुड कॉप फिर बचाएगा बैड कॉप से.
Okay, it's very good. So regarding the good cop and bad cop is a like very classic interrogation technique. We can like it's portrayed in so many movies and TV shows. We can see. So in first, bad cop came and he or she, whoever maybe that uses tactics like threat, which create a sense of pressure or discomfort, making the individual more likely to seek relief. कि भाई ये इतना मार पीट रहा है या इतना डरा रहा है तो इससे थोड़ा छुटकारा मिल जाए. So in that time, here comes the role of a good cop. He or she offers the empathy, understanding, and shows some of support to the individual. They downplay the seriousness of the situation, express sympathy for the individual, and offer reassurance that cooperation will lead to the more favorable outcome. So this interrogate create a psychological dynamic that can make the individual more inclined to trust and confide in the good cop in hopes of escaping the pressure or hostility of the bad cop. This can sometimes lead to the individual provide information or confessing the crime. Okay. Now the second method, the maximization. So in this interrogation technique, we used by investigating officer during interrogation to create pressure on individual. This technique downplay the seriousness of the offense or the consequence of the confession. The purpose is to create a sense of anxiety, guilt, or fear in the individual. This may be done by the scaring with them with the prison and all. Now next, the moral approach. So this approach focus on appealing to the individual moral values or the sense of right and wrong. Like an interrogator focuses to the harm that the subject's action have caused to others and emphasize the significance of apologizing or acting morally by supporting law enforcement. They mainly use the guilt of the subject. Now fourth one, like playing suspect against each other. This is a tactic sometimes played by the interrogators or IO to create a mistrust between the individual involved in the crime. In a scenario, is there is a two or many, like more than two subjects or suspect are there. So in this scenario, one suspect is encouraged to believe that their companion in the crime is cooperating with the authorities or with the police system, so creating the pressure that the suspect to create as cooperate as well. So now can tell me, anyone can tell me that how would you set up an interrogation room, or in a इंटरोगेशन रूम कैसा दिखता है? यहाँ पे पिक्चर लगा हुआ है.
टॉर्चर इक्विपमेंट रखेंगे साइड में अलग से.
सॉरी
मैम, टॉर्चर इक्विपमेंट्स रखेंगे डिस्प्ले, मतलब उसको दिखाने के लिए
टॉर्चर इक्विपमेंट रखेंगे. ओके, इसमें हम बाद में
क्रिएट होगा ना, प्रेशर क्रिएट होगा थोड़ा.
प्रेशर
टॉर्चर्स आर बैंड.
इसमें हम बाद में बात करेंगे कि टॉर्चर इक्विपमेंट हमें इंटरोगेशन रूम पे हम रखना चाहिए क्या, मतलब इज इट लीगल और इलीगल. हमारे जो इंडियन क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम है, ये पुलिस कस्टडी में जो टॉर्चर या थर्ड डिग्री टॉर्चर को सपोर्ट नहीं करता है. तो दिस इज द रीजन हम टॉर्चर इक्विपमेंट नहीं रख सकते. तो और एल्स क्या बेसिक कॉमन से, मतलब कॉमन क्या दिखने को मिलता है?
A simple table with a chair and 2 or 3 like a stick or like something very like scary things like he can hold the
threat level. Okay, so mainly a basic interrogation room, जो basic चीजें हमारे interrogation room पे, it is quiet and private place होना चाहिए, ताकि बाहर का जो distraction या manipulation ना रहे. वहाँ पे कोई और मतलब सिर्फ इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग ऑफिसर एंड जो सस्पेक्ट होते हैं वही रहते हैं. अदर्स कोई मेंबर्स अलाउ नहीं होते ड्यूरिंग द इंटरोगेशन प्रोसेस. एंड सम सिटिंग अरेंजमेंट, कंफर्ट सिटिंग अरेंजमेंट एंड मिनिमल डिस्ट्रैक्शन. ये इंटरोगेशन रूम पे एक ही लाइट होता है और वो कलरफुल नहीं होता है, उसका दीवार काले काले होते हैं या फिर वाइट होते हैं. जस्ट डिस्ट्रैक्शन कम करने के लिए वो ऐसे पेंट किया जाता है. एंड राइट नाउ कि हम जैसे जो सस्पेक्ट होते हैं या सब्जेक्ट होते हैं हमारे, उसका इंटरोगेशन हम रिकॉर्ड कर सके, तो दिस इज द रीजन रिकॉर्डिंग इक्विपमेंट्स लाइक वीडियोग्राफी और ऑडियो रिकॉर्डर कैन बी प्रेजेंट देयर. ओके, नाउ द फिफ्थ वन, द इंटरोगेशन टेक्निक, that is pride and ego, which encourages cooperation by attacking the perpetrator's self. Like you are a weak person, you can't able to do this kind of crime or this kind of thing. So ऐसे ego hurt किया जाता है. Lastly, widely used method of interrogation technique, that is Reed technique, which is developed by a John E. Reed in 1950s. This techniques, the interrogator confront the suspect directly with accusation of guilt, often using evidence and statement obtained during the investigation to support these accusations. The goal is to break down the suspect resistance and compel them to confess. So, according to you, which do you think get the best result of the 6 interrogation techniques?
Pride and ego.
Pride and ego. Okay. Anyone?
Ma'am, I think it depends on the accused or the person in front of me, if I am the interrogator.
Yes, it's depend on obviously the investigating officer, type of cases, number of suspects. If there is 2 and more than 2 suspects, so we can use that techniques like playing suspect against each other. And it's also importantly, it also depend on suspect's nature and personality trait. Okay, now the lies. झूठ किसने बोला है यहाँ पे?
किसी ने नहीं मैम.
किसी ने नहीं. ओके, सो कोई बोल सकते हैं व्हाट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ लाई? झूठ किसको बोला जाता है, मतलब क्या है झूठ, क्या है?
the term a person says what he is not supposed to say.
which is not true. Which is not true. So lies can it can be in various form and can be classified in their characteristics and motives also. So there here I mentioned some type of lies. First is lie of omission. This type of lie people usually use because it is simple to tell. Individual who will make use this type of lie will tell the truth while omitting details that could create possible troubles. Like for example, failing to disclose a in conflict of interest while recommending a product or service. Like the salesman करते हैं. They come, they will tell that all the positive things, if they are not working like that, but all the positive things of the product, but it is not harmful. Okay. Now lie of fabrication. This type of lie that a subject could use is an interview. Fabrication involves the intent or amplifying information in deceive other. This type of lie is often used to create false impression or to cover up the truth. Like for example, we are highlighting too many of your achievements in a CV. Okay. Next is lie of minimization. In this type of lie, individual will accept the something occurred but downplays the indication. Like lie of minimization could be used if a subject wanted to stay close to the truth. However, he or she covers the truth for his or her own benefit. Like example, you were late for the class because of like you were saying that you were late for the class because of traffic, but actual truth is you were sleeping too long. Okay. Lies of exaggeration. This is a lie often used to exaggerate things for the hope of obtaining some advantage. Like we also often found in resume, the applicant must be exaggerate his or her experience or knowledge or skills for the high package or any kind of benefits to gain from the company or something like that. Now, white lie. What is white lie? Like सफेद झूठ क्या होता है? So this white lie mainly is the often harmless lie told to avoid hurting someone's feeling or to maintain the social harmony. For example, like telling someone or telling your friend that you look good, very good in this outfit, but actually they are not. You not like their outfit. So this is the safed jhoot. Now, can you guys tell me what type of symptoms indicate if someone is lying?
Sweating.
Sweating. Okay, first sweating.
Random eye movement.
Random eye movement. 2. Anyone else?
Not a perfect
Any
eye
kind of
contact.
changes we can notice?
Hand movements, ma'am.
Hand movements. Okay. Acha, shaking of hand. Anyone?
Shaking of legs.
Shaking of legs. Okay. That body movements. Okay. In communication, we can notice any kind of change or any kind of symptoms.
Fumbling sometimes.
Fumbling. Or
Mike's okay, so stammer.
stammer. Okay. Okay. So now, firstly, we are just focusing on the emotional reaction, like face reaction and body movement changes. Stiff movement, like एक ही जगह पे एकदम बैठे रहना, ज़्यादा movement ना करना, like stiffness. Avoiding eye contact. We are usually notice these symptoms. Hand touching faces. Instantly they are touching faces and all. Timing of gestures and emotions is off. The time difference between words and gestures. Like they are telling something, and after some time we notice that they are acting like this. Expression is limited to in the face. In the whole face, they are like avoiding the showing their expression. Now lie detection technique इसमें interaction और reaction, like इसमें the guilty person get defensive. They get defensive, turn away from the interviewer, might unconsciously place objects like between, if there is a table between the investigator or interrogator and the subject, so they might be, if there is any coffee mug or book, so they mainly unconsciously they put the object anywhere. So you can notice this kind of symptoms. And the most noticeable thing, the verbal content. Okay, so a liar will use your words to the answer a question when, like, they will repeat your words. Like if you ask, "Did you eat the last cookie?" They will answer, "No, I did not eat the last cookie." They will answer the whole sentence. Guilt person may speak more than natural or adding unnecessary details to convince you. The words may be grabble or spoken softly. They are very soft spoken in words, or sentence will be like muddled. Okay. So in the first point, can you tell me like why might they repeat your words back to you? If someone lying to you, so they will repeat your words back to back. Any specific reason why they will do?
Spontaneous response के लिए मैम.
Spontaneous response. How come the spontaneous response? Like if you interrogate a person who did a crime, you know that he can be the accused. So and he is like trying to repeat. He is continuously repeating your words. You are telling him कि like आपने ये मर्डर किया है, आपने इसका मर्डर किया है, एंड यू आर लाइक नहीं, मैं तो उस टाइम पे यहाँ पे था ही नहीं और मैंने इसका मर्डर नहीं किया. मतलब ये पूरा आपका वर्ड बार बार रिपीट कर रहा है. So and unnecessary details they will add.
Ma'am, maybe sympathy के लिए. Ma'am, in order to convince the person.
Order to convince the person. And
to generate an alibi, to think.
Okay. Sometimes आपका ही क्वेश्चन को दोबारा रिपीट करेगा. क्या पूछा? अच्छा, इस टाइम पे मैं वहाँ पे थी या नहीं, ये पूछा आपने?
Yes, ma'am. This is because of our brain responses. इससे हमें पता लग जाता है कि जो पर्टिकुलर पर्सन है वो झूठ बोल रहा है. इसको कुछ पर्टिकुलर बोलते हैं, मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा.
Okay, don't worry. So maybe the person is not lying. Okay, he or she is the innocent one. So for clarification, they can do, like it can be a way to for the suspect to ensure that they understand the question or statement correctly before responding. Okay, and second one is mirroring. So mirroring is a psychological technique where individuals mimic the behavior or language of the others as a way to build rapport or establish connection. So in the context of interrogation, the suspect may repeat the interrogator's words back as a form of mirroring in an attempting to establish a sense of rapport or a signal of cooperation. And thirdly, dealing tactics, like they are engaging in this repetitive behavior. They may hope to disrupt the flow of the interrogation. Like एक intentionally होता है. They are intentionally doing this to break the chain of the interrogation, to distract the. And lastly, to assess the interrogator's approach or tactics, like to analyze what is the interrogator want to know, to assess for the time, for to get that time, they are repeating, they are doing this kind of behavior repeatedly for the time pass only. Okay?
तो मैम इसके बीच में डिफरेंस पता लग सकता है?
इसके बीच में डिफरेंस, ओके, सो ये डिपेंड करता है सिचुएशन के ऊपर. एकदम इनिशियल स्टेज पे अगर आप किसी सस्पेक्ट, एकदम इनिशियल स्टेज पे आपके पास 3 सस्पेक्ट है, आपने लिस्ट बनाया, आप उन लोगों को फर्स्ट टाइम इंटरोगेट कर रहे हो, so you don't know their nature, their behavior pattern or their trait of personality, you don't know, but during the investigation process आपके पास बहुत सारे एविडेंस आ जाएंगे, आपके बार बार उनके साथ इंटरोगेट होगा, मतलब इंटरेक्शन होगा, तो ड्यूरिंग द प्रोसेस यू विल अंडरस्टैंड ये पर्सन कैसा है. सो आप एकदम फर्स्ट टाइम पे ये डिफरेंशिएट नहीं कर पाओगे कि कोई इनोसेंट है या कोई गिल्टी है, ये झूठ बोल रहा है या सच बोल रहा है.
ओके मैम.
So you need to notice all the actions, all the behavior during the whole investigating process. So investigation पे क्यों इतना टाइम लगता है? This is the reason. Now the talking of the type of liars. So we already know some type of lie. Now type of liar. First one is panic liar. So a person who lies in order to avoid the consequence of confession. Imagine a scenario where you forget to complete an important assignment of your college. So, and this is the deadline, and the teacher announced that the assignment will be collected, and you realize that you will be trouble if you are not giving the assignment today or something like this. So, feeling a sense of panic or anxiety, you decide to fabricate a lie in order to avoid the facing the consequence. Like in a panic, you approach to the teacher and claim that like you completed the assignment but left it at home. Okay. Now occupational liar. An occupational liar is someone who habitually engage in deceptive behavior within the context of their job or profession. Imagine a salesperson. Like we usually think कि salesperson कभी सच नहीं बोलते, वो झूठी बोलते. Tournament liar, a person who loves to lie and is excited to be challenged of not being detected. He lies because it is only weapon remaining with which to fight. Ethnological liar, a person who is trained not to be a squirrel, that he or she will never reveal the truth. They are trained liar actually. Psychopathic liar, this type of liar is no consciousness. He shows no regret for his dishonest action or no manifestation of guilt. Pathological liar, a person who can distinguish the right from wrong. Sorry, you are not audible. Are you saying something? Okay. So pathological liar, the person who cannot distinguish the right from wrong. So those person are mentally sick. We actually tag them the mentally ill or mentally sick person. The black liar, a person who always pretends and a hypocrite. Now coming to the most important part of forensic psychology, that is detection, deception techniques. This is the method we use to identify or assess whether someone is being truthful or deceptive in their communication or behavior. These techniques rely on various cues, indicators, or psychological principles to evaluate a person's statements or actions. We mainly use this thing in forensic psychology division in our Indian criminal justice system. So, why do you think or people think that this kind of strategy or techniques are necessary? Any idea? Like why we use the psychology, human psychology, to detect deception. Okay. So, according to Indian Annual Report on Torture 2019, an average of 5 people die in police custody every day in India, an unknown number of torture. कोई बोल रहा था ना कि हम टॉर्चर के चीजें रखेंगे इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग रूम पे, सो ये हमारा स्टैटिस्टिक्स है हियर।
तो मैम टॉर्चर इक्विपमेंट्स या कुछ भी है जो वेपन तो नहीं, इक्विपमेंट से कह लेते हैं, टॉर्चर इक्विपमेंट जो हम रखेंगे वो सिर्फ प्रेशर क्रिएट करने के लिए होगा ना, वो हम यूज नहीं कर रहे ना,
के तौर पर रखा है। आप सिर्फ रख रहे हो प्रेशर क्रिएट करने के लिए, बट हमारे क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम पे या जो सिस्टम है वहाँ पे यूज होता है, एंड दिस इज द ग्राफिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ दैट here you can see that Haryana, Odisha and UP are on the top 3 states in terms of case registered as proportion of custodial death. And in between 2016 and 2019, 427 people died in police custody. So in that term, the National Human Rights Commission, constituted under the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993, became the primary monitoring body for the custodial death. The need to solve the problem of the third degree or the torture that challenged the criminal justice system, and the pressure made investigative agency turn to technology and science as a solution. At this moment, that various techniques that are called as truth machine or a lie detectors, brain fingerprinting or brain electrical oscillation signature profiling emerged, which while lie detector had been introduced in 1970s, and the combination of narcoanalysis and brain fingerprinting or brain scanning techniques introduced in 1990s and 20s. Now talking about the polygraph. Anyone heard about what is polygraph? Or anyone see like polygraph machine or something, polygraph test?
हम सीरीज में ही देखा है,
सीरीज में देखा,
रियल लाइफ में उस दिन देखा था जब पहला ओरिएंटेशन क्लास थी हमारी।
ओके, तो सीरीज में पॉलीग्राफ जो टेक्निक्स होते हैं, इस मेनली यूज द लाइक लाई डिटेक्टर we used. तो ये टेक्निक्स मैक्सिमम मूवीज और वेब सीरीज में हमने ऑलरेडी देख चुके हैं. So the polygraph test and examination, which is conducted in an assumption that the body undergoes certain physical changes while under stress. The heartbeat increase. When a person is stressed, their heartbeat increase, blood pressure goes up, breathing rhythms changes, etc. A baseline for this physiological characteristics is established by asking the subject questions whose answer is investigator no. Like, is your name is Tania? Yes. So investigator know that. So deviation from the baseline for truthfulness is taken as a sign of lie. So there are so many methods we used when we are examining or going through a polygraph test, but most common method in polygraph interrogation is control question techniques. So it developed by John Reed. Starting, we do a pre-test interview with the suspect. When a suspect came to a forensic psychologist, so we are starting a pre-test interview. Then we create a set of questions. There is a 3 kind of questions in that one set. One is relevant questions, which is directly relevant or directly connected with the event or with the crime. Like, did you kill Raj? This. Second one is control question. So control question is like that. mainly it's like we instructed to the suspect or subject that you have to tell that no in that answer in this question. Like example, have you ever physically harmed someone? So maybe like if you ask me, have you ever physically harmed someone? I will tell you no. If there is yes, I will tell you no. And irrelevant question, which is not directly or indirectly connected with the crime or the event, like is your name Tania? This is the irrelevant question. The three type of questions in one set we mainly use. So in this case, usually a liar become more aroused by lying to the relevant question than the com- control questions, and an innocent person will be more aroused by the control questions. So, where we use the polygraph techniques or polygraph test mainly in criminal investigation first, some employment screening process, some organization use the polygraph techniques, and security clearance for in airport we mainly use. But in every case, subject consent is necessary. Before the test, we have to take the subject consent that he or she have that concern that we can do the test. Now talking about the sensors, what type of sensor we used in polygraph?
मैम
Yes.
अच्छा मैम मुझे ये पूछना था कि जैसे कि किसी ने फॉल्स स्टेटमेंट दिया तो उसका एक ग्राफ बना XYZ, मैं उसी स्टेटमेंट को मिमिक नहीं कर सकता, स्टेटमेंट नहीं उसी रिस्पॉन्स को मिमिक नहीं कर सकता. जैसे पेन है, पेन में भी हम स्वेट बहुत ज्यादा स्वेट लूज करते हैं, हमारी हार्ट रेट बढ़ जाती है, फिर और क्या होता है, ब्लड प्रेशर हाई हो जाता है.
किसमें अच्छा ओके
पेन में जैसे पेन इन्फ्लिक्ट होता है, कोई ट्रॉमा होगा.
हाँ कोई ट्रॉमा
उसमें भी तो फिर हाँ ट्रॉमा होगा, या जैसे
Mainly-
मैं इंटेंशनली अपने आप को पेन इन्फ्लिक्ट कर रहा हूँ, कहीं पे स्टैब कर रहा हूँ या कट कर रहा हूँ या कुछ भी कर रहा हूँ, तो उसका रिस्पॉन्स भी तो फॉल्स के उसी पे आएगा क्योंकि मेरी हार्ट रेट ज्यादा होगी या कुछ भी है XYZ उस पे आ सकता है.
ओके सो मैं अभी बोलती हूँ. पहले तो इन दिस पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट whatever question we make, the answer should be in yes or no. हम लोग ऐसा कोई सवाल नहीं पूछेंगे जिसका आंसर yes और no में नहीं दिया जाएगा. हम ये नहीं पूछेंगे आपका नाम क्या है, हम ये पूछेंगे क्या आपका नाम तानिया है. हम ये नहीं पूछेंगे आप जिस टाइम पे इनका खून हुआ था या इनका मर्डर हुआ था आप उस टाइम पे कहाँ थे, हम ये नहीं पूछेंगे. हम पूछेंगे एट 9 PM जब उनका मर्डर हुआ था आप क्या मौके के टाइम पे वहाँ पे मौजूद थे. हम यहाँ ये पूछेंगे जिसका आंसर सिर्फ yes और no होगा. ओके एंड इन टर्म ऑफ लाइक हम खुद को जब पेन होता है या एनी काइंड ऑफ इमोशनल अराउजल ऑटोमेटिकली हमारे जब बॉडी में चेंजेस आते हैं उस टाइम पे लाइक whenever we are doing that polygraph test, there were some precautions we will take. I will come later on that. Okay, so right now I'm just introducing the sensors. The type of sensor we used, firstly pneumatic and electrical, the two type, and उसके अंडर पे हम 4 type of sensors हमारे mainly use होते हैं. First is pneumograph. Pneumograph is measure changes in respiration. It is a 2 convoluted tubes with a beaded chain. Looks like this. Okay. Sigmograph. It measures blood pressure. The blood pressure measurement machine. Plethysmograph. It measures the blood pulse volume. And lastly and most importantly, like electrodermal activity, it measures our sweat conductivity of the body. Okay, so here are some precautions we will take during the polygraph test. that we will make sure that no injury should be present in the body of the suspect or the subject. Now, room should be at an optimal temperature, like a air conditioned room, जहाँ पे sweat ज़्यादा भी ना हो, कम भी ना हो. Okay. No moisturizer and nail polish on the hands. Okay. So now coming to the question that if there is any pain in my body, so the automatic graph will change. So in that case, when we conduct the test, we mainly take some baseline for a control sample. So that time their graph, their normal graph will taken, which shows their normal heartbeat, like what is the rate of the heartbeat, their pulse rate, their respiration rhythm, their electrodermal activity. like किसी का होता है हाथ में बहुत पसीना आता है, सो वो एकदम बेसलाइन जब हम लेंगे स्टार्टिंग पे 30 सेकेंड या 1 मिनट का, उसी टाइम पे ग्राफ में आ जाएगा उनका नॉर्मल स्वेट कंडक्टिविटी. सो आफ्टर दैट वी विल स्टार्ट हिम और हर द क्वेश्चनिंग. सो if their deception will make, like if he or she tell the lie or something like that, so it will show the deception or not.
अच्छा मैम, ये टेस्ट एम्प्टी स्टमक होता है?
हाँ क्या
ये एम्प्टी स्टमक होता है?
नहीं, एम्प्टी स्टमक तो हम नहीं बोलते हैं. मतलब इसका कोई प्रिकॉशन नहीं होता है कि सस्पेक्ट को या सब्जेक्ट को खाली पेट ही आना होगा.
क्योंकि मैम हीट बर्न में भी तो हार्ट रेट ऊपर चली जाती है.
वो हम बेसलाइन जब लेते हैं ना एकदम स्टार्टिंग पे, उसी टाइम हम उनका नॉर्मल हार्ट रेट, उस टाइम पे उसी दौरान हम उनका नॉर्मल हार्ट रेट मेजर कर लेते हैं. अभी शायद से कि हाँ मैम, लेट्स से कि जैसे एक इंडिविजुअल आता है आपके पास और उसने खाना खाया होता है. अभी आपने बेसलाइन तो सेट कर दिया, आपने उससे ट्रू और फॉल्स दोनों पूछ लिए, यस और नो के. आपको दोनों के लिए कंट्रोल भी मिल गया, रेफरेंस पॉइंट जो हम बोलेंगे वो भी मिल गया. अब इंटरव्यू के दौरान इंटरोगेशन के दौरान आपने कोई क्वेश्चन पूछा उससे, और उसी टाइम पे अगर उसको एसिडिटी या हीट बर्न बोलते हैं, अगर वो स्टार्ट होता है तो फिर तो स्वेटिंग का मतलब स्वेट स्टार्ट हो जाएगा, उससे हल्का पेन स्टार्ट हो जाएगा, उसकी वजह से हार्ट रेट बढ़ जाएगी, ब्लड प्रेशर भी बढ़ सकता है. In that case, the suspect or subject can have that ability to stop the test. Like they can tell us ki please stop the test, I am having some problem. Because here we are using another sensor, that is piezoelectric sensor pads, which we will measure the physical movement. Okay, यहाँ पे जो सीट होता है, सीट पे एक सेंसर लगा होता है, आर्म रेस्ट पे एक सेंसर लगा होता है किसी मशीन पे, देन फुट सेंसर लगा हुआ रहता है. तो कोई भी अगर मूवमेंट होता है तो उसमें ग्राफ में दिख जाएगा. तो इन दैट केस हम जो एग्जामिनर होते हैं या जो साइकोलॉजिस्ट वहाँ पे बैठे रहते हैं, तो वो लोग पूछते हैं कि कोई प्रॉब्लम है, या वो लोग स्टॉप करके उनके पास वो लिबर्टी होती है. एंड इन दैट केस अगर उनकी तबीयत खराब हो रही है या फिर कोई काइंड ऑफ पेन हो रही है, तो वो जो टेस्ट के दौरान हो रही है, तो वो टेस्ट एडमिसिबल नहीं होता है. मतलब वो टेस्ट हम कंसिडर नहीं करेंगे, रीटेस्ट करना पड़ेगा. ओके, बस ये जो मशीन जो सेंसर्स होते हैं ना, ये बहुत सेंसिटिव होते हैं. छोटे से छोटे जो चेंजेस होते हैं वो मशीन पे दिख जाता है. अगर आप थोड़ा सा भी एंग्जियस हो, तो थोड़ा सा भी एंजाइटी हो रही है या कुछ भी, तो भी वो आपके मशीन पे ग्राफ में शो करेगा कि यू आर एंग्जियस. So this is the graph mainly we can show in the screen. The first two is for respiration, second is electrodermal activity showing BP, third one is BP, and fourth one is the piezo sensors, like which is the showing the body movement.
हाँ देखो क्या हालत है, तो मेरे बाहर का जैसे ही खाना स्टार्ट करते हैं मेरे पिंपल निकल आने लगते हैं बहुत सारे.
Now talking about some another perception detection techniques, which is the brain fingerprinting. It detects concealed information stored in the brain by measuring brain waves. It detects the peak 300 responses to words or pictures relevant to the crime scene, non-invisible by sensors placed on the scan. So, what is BIOS? We are talking about the BIOS technique. So, what is BIOS? BIOS is the brain electrical oscillation signature profiling. Is a non-invasive truth-finding techniques which examine the changes in electrical activity of the brain association with response to authority or visual stimulus. It is the tool that measures the changes in electrical activity of brain associated with the presence of knowledge provoked by the probes. It is used to identify individual with experience of participating in the crime. It focuses the experimental knowledge of the suspect. So, the two neurocognitive process, one is knowing and remembering. Anyone have any idea what is knowing? Knowing it mainly refers the cognitive process of recognition with or without familiarity, and remembering it is a recall of episode or autobiographical details of a person's life. So in this BIOS technique, we mainly there is some procedure we use. First procedure the same, the pre-test interview with the suspect. Second, informed consent, informed consent is obtained. Third, no questions are to be asked while conducting the test. Rather, the subject is provide with events or scenario, and the result are analyzed to verify if the brain procedure any experimental knowledge or it should be disclosed. Yeah. Probes, like what is probes? Probes mainly we use to stimulate the brain of the person for the purpose of finding facts and introduce responses which can be linked to the content of probes. So here in BIOS machine, we mainly ask to the subject to sit comfortably, and there is a cap with 32 channels, and we connect it with their scalp. Okay, and we will show them that them the pictures related to the crime or related to the event, or we can give a auditory auditory response to the suspect or subject related to the crime or related to the event. So there is a two type of probes we can use in BIOS technique. One is auditory probes and another one is visual probes. So each auditory probes input is analyzed within 10 seconds, and 10 seconds if of 32 channels are being recorded by the machine. After every 60 and 120 probes present, system automatically carried out a statistical analysis. Here, automatic generated analysis report will come from the machine. Okay, so now talking about a case study, the Hathras case. Anyone know? It's a very famous case in UP. Okay, on 14 September 2020, a 19-year-old girl was alleged gang rape in Hathras district, UP, India, by 4 upper caste men. She died after 2 weeks in Delhi hospital. Initially, it was reported that one accused had tried to kill her. So later, in her statement to the magistrate, the victim named 4 accused as having raped her. The victim's brother claimed that no arrests were made in the first 10 days after the incident took place. After her death, victim's body was forcibly cremated by the police without the consent of her family. Okay. So the incident will take place in September 14, 14, 2020, at around 9:30 a.m., the victim and her mother went to the work in the field, and the mother heard her screaming and rushed to find her. When she found her, she saw her lying in the ground covered with blood and her tongue cut off. An hour later, the victim and her mother and her brother reached the police station. The victim this time was slipping in and out of consciousness. An FIR was filed against accused Sandeep under Section 354 Indian Penal Code. The police then took the victim in a district hospital where the doctor referred her to the MU JNC hospital, saying the local clinic does not have the facility to treat her and she was serious condition. So in September 19, the victim's statements were recorded in JNMC hospital, in which she mentioned molestation and names two attackers, including the main accused Sandeep. After 2 days, on September 22, the victim's dying declaration before the district magistrate was recorded in JNMC hospital. In this statement, she named the other three accused, Lavkush, Ravi and Ramu, accusing them of sexual assault. On September 29, 2020 morning, the victim died and the police forcefully cremated the victim without consent of her family. So, later on, the UP government set up a special investigation team to look after the case, and the central government had issued the notification for the CBI to take over the case, after which the CBI registered a FIR and took over the investigation charge from the UP police. So then by the CBI, the 4 accused were carried out for the BIOS test and polygraph to DFS Gandhinagar, Gujarat in December. According to the report, it had been revealed in the polygraph test that the main accused Sandeep was present at the spot at the time of the incident. The question asked to him during the test related of his location on the day of the incident. Sandeep either gave a wrong answer or an unclear answer to questions put up to him during the polygraph test. So it shown the deception that he might be lying on that particular question. On 19th December, CBI filed a charge sheet in special court in Hathras evoking gang rape and murder charges along with the charges under SC or ST provision of or Atrocity Act against the 4 accused. CBI also mentioned lapses on part of UP police that include delay in recording the victim's statement in written and her subsequent medical examination also. The case is still under trial at the Allahabad High Court and is shifted to a safe place to ensure free and fair proceeding. So in the conclusion part, where we are starting like why these scientific deception techniques are necessary. So in the Indian legal context, there are significant safeguards to prevent police violence during police investigation and interrogation. Also can lead to emerge of forensic psychology as one of the possible solutions to the torture. These techniques is like BIOS, polygraph, brain fingerprinting are non-invasive in nature and are reliable techniques for the extraction of information from the suspect rather than torturing them till death. Okay, so the success rate of these techniques are measured to be 94 to 98%, not 100%. From the tests which are conducted, success depend on the skill of the expert and who conducted the test. So, the use of deception detection technique should be considered a remedy against the custodial torture and death. So, in this point, we I'm already like so many times mentioned the non-invasive techniques or non-invasive in nature. That BIOS and polygraph is a non-invasive in nature. Anyone know what is non-invasive?
Hello.
Without harming.
Yes, without harming. So non-invasive is a procedure that does not require inserting any instrument through the skin or through the body part. Okay, so where narco analysis, when we are doing the narco test, we are injecting some drugs in a human body. So that is the invasive procedure. But polygraph and BIOS, like when electro oscillation signature profiling, is a non-invasive. In these two techniques, we didn't use any kind of drug or any kind of instrument. We are not inserting in a human body. It's harmless, actually. Okay. Thank you. Any question?
Ma'am,
Yes.
let's say there are 10 people or 30 people, suspects.
There are
30 suspects or 10 suspects.
30.
Right.
30.
30 suspects.
Okay.
Out of 30, let's say we reduce the number to 10 or 5.
10.
Initial investigation and after everything. So we directly proceed to BIOS or polygraph, or there are other techniques we use before polygraph or
No.
BIOS.
एक्चुअली यहाँ पे एक प्रोसीड्यूर फॉलो होते हैं हमारे इंडियन क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम पे. कोर्ट अगर परमिशन देता है कि इनके इस केस में जो 3 और 10 सस्पेक्ट है हमारे, तो इनका हम पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट, BIOS टेस्ट और नार्को टेस्ट कर सकते हैं. मतलब करने के लिए अगर कोर्ट परमिशन देते हैं, देन दे कम टू द FSL और DFS और CFSL, which is forensic science lab. ओके, वहाँ पे फॉरेंसिक साइकोलॉजी डिवीजन पे आते हैं. एंड फिर वहाँ पे जो फॉरेंसिक साइकोलॉजिस्ट होते हैं या जो एग्जामिनर होते हैं, वो कंसर्न लेते हैं. इफ द सस्पेक्ट और सब्जेक्ट गिव देयर कंसर्न कि दे आर ओके विथ टू अंडरगो द टेस्ट, ओके, सो देन वी विल प्रोसीड टू द टेस्ट.
हम ये तो चलो सस्पेक्ट है, हम कंसेंट ले रहे हैं. एक हीनियस क्राइम हुआ है और जो सस्पेक्ट हमें मिला है वो कन्फेस कर रहा है.
सेम फॉलो होता है.
बट मैम वो कन्फेस कर रहा है, तो हम डायरेक्टली मतलब कोर्ट का ऑर्डर का वेट करेंगे, बाकी सारे प्रोसीजर करने से बेटर नहीं है कि
विदाउट कोर्ट्स ऑर्डर कोई भी मतलब कोई भी FSL ये केस नहीं लेता है पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट के लिए. पॉलीग्राफ या फिर BIOS. कोर्ट ऑर्डर इज मैंडेटरी.
तो मैम ये पॉलिसी चेंज नहीं करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि कोर्ट ऑर्डर में तो टाइम लगता है.
हाँ, तो टाइम लगता है. वी आर डिस्कसिंग दैट हाथरस केस. सितंबर में क्राइम हुआ है, उसके बाद CBI के पास गए.
दिसंबर में उसका पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट. हाँ,
या इट वाज अ हाइलाइटेड केस. एंड ऐसा बहुत सारे केसेस देखिए 2 साल 3 साल बाद वो लोग आ रहे हैं पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट के.
मैम चलो ये तो जो एक्यूज था, सस्पेक्ट अभी पकड़ा, बाद में एक्यूज होगा कि नहीं पता नहीं. जो सस्पेक्ट पकड़ा वो तो डिनाई कर रहा होगा अपनी बात से कि मैंने नहीं किया है, कुछ भी है. उस टाइम पे कंसेंट भी मैटर करता है और कोर्ट का रिस्पॉन्स भी मैटर करता है. वो एग्रीएबल है. अब मैं कह रहा हूँ कोई सस्पेक्ट हमने लिया, वो कन्फेस कर रहा है.
ओके.
हाँ, कन्फेस कर रहा है. अब वो कन्फेस मतलब एक्चुअली में उसने किया है, वो वैलिडेट करने के लिए अब कोर्ट का ऑर्डर का वेट करेंगे. इससे बेटर है कि हम मतलब FSL में जाके उसका टेस्ट.
नहीं, एक्चुअली कन्फेस के बाद भी क्या होता है, अगर उसके साथ मतलब वो अगर कन्फेस कर रहे हैं तो उसके रिगार्डिंग हमें एविडेंस मिल चुका है उसको गिल्टी प्रूफ करने के लिए, तो वहाँ पे कोर्ट पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट या BIOS टेस्ट के लिए क्यों जाएगा?
मैम नहीं, क्योंकि जैसे हम लोग मोस्टली मतलब सीरीज में तो ऐसे दिखाते हैं, रियल लाइफ में होता है कि नहीं मुझे आइडिया नहीं है. ये जैसे जुवेनाइल केसेस होता है.
श्रद्धा मर्डर केस.
यस मैम.
हाँ, यहाँ पे जो उसका जो बॉयफ्रेंड था, उस एक्यूज था हमारा मेन, उसने ऑलरेडी कन्फेस कर दिया था, उसने बोला था कहाँ उसने वो उसका बॉडी पार्ट्स रखा था, लास्ट में उसने कन्फेस कर दिया, बट स्टिल ही अंडरगो विद द पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट एंड बियोस टेस्ट आल्सो।
हाँ मैं वही चीज कह रहा हूँ, तो उसके लिए हाई कोर्ट मतलब कोर्ट हाई कोर्ट कह रहा हूँ, किसी भी कोर्ट का परमिशन इतना इम्पोर्टेंस क्यों है? जैसे किसी ने कन्फेस किया, हम डायरेक्टली प्रोसीड करते हैं ना, डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करेंगे प्रॉपर, नो डाउट, बट कोर्ट मतलब किसी चीज का वेट करने से बेटर है कि हम चलते हैं, प्रोसीड कर लेते हैं।
कोई भी साइकोलॉजिकल टेस्ट हम जब करते हैं, एक तो होता है पेपर पेंसिल टेस्ट, बट अगर ये क्रिमिनल इन्वेस्टिगेशन की बात हो जाए, जो भी काम होता है कोर्ट का प्रोसीड्योर फॉलो होता है। जब तक कोर्ट से ऑर्डर नहीं आएगा, एक तो होता है इन्वेस्टिगेशन पार्ट, बट ये जो टेस्ट होते हैं पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट और बियोस टेस्ट और जो नार्को टेस्ट तो बहुत बात की बात है, तो ये टेस्ट एफएसएल के अंडर आ जाता है, ये पुलिस के अंडर नहीं होता है। पुलिस के पास इन्वेस्टिगेशन करने का पूरा राइट होते हैं कि दे आर फ्री टू इन्वेस्टिगेट, बट फॉर द टेस्ट एफएसएल के पास ये राइट नहीं होता है कि ये किसी को भी पकड़ के उसके ऊपर पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट कर दे।
Yes, ma'am, because Article 21 also is considerable here.
So, जैसे कंसेंट सब्जेक्ट का या सस्पेक्ट का कंसेंट भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, उसके साथ उससे पहले कोर्ट का ऑर्डर भी इम्पोर्टेंट है। कोर्ट का ऑर्डर लेके आईओ आएगा, उसके बाद हम सस्पेक्ट से पूछेंगे, प्री टेस्ट इंटरव्यू होगा, कंसेंट लिया जाएगा, उसके बाद टेस्ट होगा। एंड जब टेस्ट होगा, ड्यूरिंग द टेस्ट प्रोसेस सस्पेक्ट मना भी कर सकता है कि मैं टेस्ट नहीं करना चाहता।
हाँ तो मैं अगर वो पूरे टाइम डिनाई करता रहा फिर तो टेस्ट ही नहीं होगा, इन्वेस्टिगेशन। मैम कंसेंट नहीं दे रहा, लेट्स से अगर कोई मेरा बियोस से पॉलीग्राफ करना चाहे, टेस्ट नहीं होगा। इफ हाँ वही चीज तो मैं कह रहा हूँ, कोर्ट का ऑर्डर भी आ गया।
तानिया मैम, अजय, सी आर्टिकल
यस मैम
20, see, right, Article 20 of Indian Constitution, it says that you, like, if you, it protects against, basically, it protects against self-incrimination, and it states that no accused shall be compelled to be a witness against themselves. ठीक है, तो आर्टिकल 20 एक तो है, प्लस आर्टिकल 21 ह्यूमन राइट्स है, तो पॉलीग्राफ जो है वो क्रिटिसाइज इसीलिए होता है क्योंकि ये दोनों सेक्शंस जो हैं वो कहीं ना कहीं इन्फ्रिंजमेंट उसका हो रहा है। अगर आपने जहाँ बोला जैसे कन्फेशन वाली बात, अगर आपने कन्फेस कर लिया है तो ये एक श्योर डीएनए की तरह या फिंगरप्रिंट की तरह ये एक टेक्निक नहीं है, इट इज अ कोरॉबोरेटिव टेक्निक। अगर कुछ कन्फेशन हो गया है तो मे बी पॉलीग्राफ हो सकता है उस कन्फेशन को और पुख्ता करने के लिए, राइट, या फिर पता करने के लिए कि वेदर इट इज अ फोर्स कन्फेशन, हाँ इट इज अ फोर्स कन्फेशन और नॉट, राइट। और अगर कन्फेशन नहीं हुआ है तो मे बी पता करने के लिए ये टेक्निक्स केवल डिसेप्शन को डिटेक्ट करने के लिए है। आप, है ना, अगर आपने टेक्निक को ध्यान से समझा भी होगा या उसके क्वेश्चनेयर किस तरीके से बन रहे हैं वो भी आपने अगर देखा होगा, तो ये कहीं ये नहीं बता रहा कि मैंने खून किया है ना, इंटेरोगेशन एग्जैक्टली, वो केवल इंटेरोगेशन को एक सही डायरेक्शन पे ले जाने के लिए कराई जा रही है, ठीक है। और इसके अलावा हाँ और क्या क्वेश्चन है आप?
मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि इंटेरोगेशन को या इन्वेस्टिगेशन को डिस्ट्रैक्ट करने के लिए कुछ ना कुछ बोलेगा, तो उसी को डिटेक्ट करने के लिए हम ये सारी टेक्निक्स यूज कर रहे हैं। अब मैं आर्टिकल 20 देख रहा हूँ, इसमें कह रहा है प्रोवाइडिंग द प्रोटेक्शन इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ कन्विक्शन फॉर ऑफेंस। तो टेक्निकली मैं क्या टेक्निकली आर्टिकल 20 तो ये कह रहा है ना कि मैंने ऑफेंस किया ही नहीं, वो तो डिनाई कर रहा है। अब मैं अगर आपको कंसेंट
आर्टिकल 20 आपको बोल रहा है कि आप ऐसी कोई भी चीज, हाँ बिल्कुल, बहुत उसमें होता है, नहीं मिलता हमें कंसेंट, बहुत चीजों में होता है। इनफैक्ट फॉर ब्लड एग्जामिनेशन आल्सो, अगर कहीं किसी का डीएनए एग्जामिनेशन भी करना है तो कई बार होता है कि अक्यूज नहीं बोलता है कि मैं एग्री नहीं कर रहा ब्लड देने के लिए, तो उसके लिए अपने फिर कई पैरामीटर्स होते हैं, बट ये आर्टिकल 20 उसको सेफगार्ड करता है।
ऑफ एविडेंस एक्ट आल्सो, तो अगर एविडेंस शो कर रहे हैं कि बंदे ने क्राइम किया है तो स्टेट के पास भी राइट्स हैं कि उसके अगेंस्ट स्टेप ले सकते हैं, बिकॉज समवेयर ये कोरॉबोरेशन।
एब्सोल्युटली
हाँ, तो स्टेट अगर एक स्टेप ले सकता है उसके अगेंस्ट, तो यानी उसका कंसेंट मैटर नहीं करेगा ना उस टाइम पर, क्योंकि एविडेंस शो कर रहा है वो।
See, I already mentioned
एविडेंस है अगर हमारे पास
Yeah.
yes Tania ma'am please.
I already mentioned that polygraph test or BIOS test, not BIOS, like talking about polygraph test is not 100% accurate. और यहाँ पे हमारे जो चेंजेस आते हैं, जो डिसेप्शन डिटेक्ट होते हैं, बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स काम करते हैं. इट्स नॉट ओनली फिजियोलॉजिकल, साइकोलॉजिकल फैक्टर्स भी काम करते हैं. कुछ सस्पेक्ट आते हैं, वो मशीन देख के डर जाते हैं. उनको उनका ये सवाल होता है कि इनसे करंट तो नहीं आएगा. तो अगर जो इंसान डरा हुआ है उसका तो बीपी ऑलरेडी हाई होगा. तो ऐसे बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स काम करते हैं. एंड हियर इज द रोल ऑफ फॉरेंसिक साइकोलॉजिस्ट. ये साइकोलॉजी डिवीजन पे क्यों आता है? हम जब प्री टेस्ट इंटरव्यू होते हैं या फिर पोस्ट टेस्ट इंटरव्यू भी एक होता है आफ्टर द टेस्ट, वहाँ पे हम उनको काउंटर क्वेश्चंस करते हैं कि आपके टेस्ट में ये सवाल पूछा गया था एंड इसमें ये डिसेप्शन शो किया गया था यहाँ पे. तो यहाँ पे हम जब सवाल करते हैं, साइकोलॉजिस्ट सस्पेक्ट की तरफ से जो आंसर आते हैं, साइकोलॉजिस्ट वहाँ से मतलब प्री टेस्ट, टेस्ट एंड पोस्ट टेस्ट, इन तीनों टेस्ट का एक सिग्निफिकेंट रोल होता है जब फॉरेंसिक साइकोलॉजिस्ट अपना ओपिनियन देते हैं रिपोर्ट में. किसी सिर्फ टेस्ट के ऊपर डिपेंड करके वो ओपिनियन दे नहीं सकता है. ओके
ओके मैम.
इज देयर एनी क्वेश्चन?
अच्छा मैम, हाँ स्टार्टिंग में मैम ने बताया था, उनका नाम मुझे पता नहीं, इरमा मैम शायद.
हाँ, इराम मैम.
इराम मैम थी, तो उन्होंने ईआई के बारे में बताया था. क्या कहते हैं
EI
का पूछना.
Is what your question, the first one?
यस मैम.
Okay, your question.
तो ईआई का कोई कोरिलेशन है कि जैसे ज्यादा ईआई होगा तो
correlation between the person EI मतलब इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस का अंडर पे बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स आते हैं. ठीक है, तो वो ऐसे हम मेजर नहीं करेंगे, बट हाँ EI का क्राइम के साथ कनेक्शन है. जैसे एग्रेशन, ओके, ये इमोशन के अंडर पे ही आते हैं. तो बहुत जो लोग ज़्यादा एग्रेसिव होते हैं तो एग्रेशन की बेस पे कोई क्राइम कर सकता है ना. तो इसका कनेक्शन है.
Yeah, usually it is said, Ajay, usually it is said that people, with lower emotional intelligence, they tend to have difficulty in self-regulation. ठीक है, जो aggression के बाद तानिया मैम बता रही हैं, तो उनको emotions manage करना मुश्किल होता है. तो usually perception यही है कि lower emotional intelligence वाले लोग crime, जो आपका question था, criminal behavior दिखाते हैं. ठीक है, it is indecisiveness रहता है, regulation नहीं रहता सही से उनका emotions का. So मतलब usually it is said there is no data recorded as such, no मतलब research obviously होती है, but कोई hard and fast rule नहीं है, but in genetic sense it is said that lower emotional intelligence people tend to go for criminal behavior, right?
और मैम डेवलपमेंट फेज के बारे में बता रही थी मैम कि चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट फेज में अगर उनको प्रॉपर केयर, प्रॉपर एनवायरनमेंट मिलता है तो डेवलपमेंट फेज कितने एज से कब तक काउंट करते हैं?
Development age. There are some stages जो हमारे साइकोलॉजिकल उसमें है थियोरी में. तो we will discuss in another session the stages of development. Okay? Thank you, Ajay. Hope there is no another.
Okay, so
Please, Vani.
thank you so much all for attending the webinar. I hope you have learned many new things in the field of forensic psychology, and I hope that you all get the satisfactory answer to your questions and queries. Next Sunday also we will have another session and we will inform you about the session in the group in the same way. And those who have registered for today's webinar will get the certificate by tomorrow. There is one more thing that I want to tell, that you
all get a feedback form in the group, and those who will fill the form will get the certificate. So it is mandatory to fill that feedback form, and for the further sessions we will inform you. Thank you so much again for attending the webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
ये कह रही हूँ मीटिंग ओवर हो गई है, बंद कर दूँ मैं? ठीक है, मतलब मीटिंग क्लोज कर दूँ बस?